In a world full of noise and endless distractions, where the city never sleeps and voices compete to be heard, one podcast dares to cut through the chaos. Welcome to the Oracle 19 podcast, where truth meets thought and bold ideas spark conversations that shape our urban world.
Welcome to a brand new podcast. And as always, the Oracle 19. And my name is Mr. Greatness. Now, for any business inquiries, as I mention every week, you want to put your business on this platform, you can email us at evolutionoflondon@gmail.com, and that's the same email if you want to make a donation to the podcast, or a little free will offering. evolutionoflondon@gmail.com via PayPal. For any general inquiries, you can email us at the Oracle 19 at the Oracle19radio.com. Again, the Oracle 19 at the Oracle19radio.com. You can shop online to our baby shopping mall, as well as my other two more websites. Total 3 different websites you can shop. evolutionoflondon.com, evolutionoflondon.org, evolutionoflondon.store, STORE. Over 10,000 different products from men's, kids, ladies' clothes, custom clothes, and accessories, blankets, towels, you name it. Cologne, perfume, a lot of different products. So check it out. It's shipped directly to you anywhere on this planet Earth. We have different links to other affiliates, www.linktree.com/Evolution of London. We have a Patreon channel, which we have videos, digital artwork, and consulting services. So that's www.patreon.com/Evolution of London. You'll find us also on Rumble, rumble.com. Just type in the Oracle 19 and subscribe to and follow on Rumble, the Oracle 19. Now, let's talk about other companies that sponsor us. Royalty 9 International. You need custom homemade candles, 100% soy wax, 12-ounce jars, from scented to unscented. Now, the scented candles are from frankincense, myrrh, jasmine, eucalyptus, blueberry, just to name a few. And you can email the company at royalty9international@gmail.com. You'll find them on Instagram and TikTok, Royalty 9 International. Mr. Will, he's been a fitness consultant for over 15 years, so if you want to book a consultation, email him at healthfitnessconsultant1@gmail.com. Music. Cheap Limousine channel on YouTube. He have a whole wide range of different beats, as you listen to right now. And once you go to his YouTube channel, you see his other social media sites, so like, subscribe, and share to Cheap Limousine channel on YouTube. And continue to train on YouTube is the Greatness 19 channel. That's our educational channel to open up your third eye. So like, subscribe, and share to the Greatness 19 channel, as well as Mr. Evolution of London, our health and wellness channel. That's Mr. MR. Evolution of London health and wellness channel on YouTube. Now, the Oracle 19 is on all major platforms. We're on iHeartRadio, Google, Apple, Spotify for creators, Amazon Music, just to name a few. So any information I haven't mentioned will be in the description box of the Oracle 19 podcast, the Greatness 19 channel, Mr. Evolution of London. Both of those is on YouTube, of course. Rumble.com, just type in the Oracle 19. And finally, our internet radio website, www.theoracle19radio.com. Well, today, this is a part one. I think I'm gonna do a part two on this, but mentally ill men. Now, I know some people, I told certain people, and they're anticipating this show today, trying to figure out what I will say, and even, I don't know, I'm just going to talk like I usually talk and give a perspective, and hopefully things that can help you out as well. Mentally ill men, particularly. Now, this is something my oldest daughter, shout out to you, actually sparked that, but I know you didn't want to, that wasn't meant for you to spark, but hey, Dad loves you anyway. Always. No, I'm just being funny, but I love you. But before we get to mentally ill men, is this going to be a twist? I did promise her, okay, baby girl, all right, I'm going to talk about the common types of mental illnesses. And because, again, it's a serious thing. I am taking it very serious. But there are common types of mental illness. Depression, which persists into sadness and loss of interest, fatigue. These are the common effects of depression clinically. Hopelessness, just to name a few. Persistent sadness. Anxiety disorders, constant worry, panic attacks, irrational fears. Again, I'm just mentioning the different common types of mental illness. Bipolar disorder. Again, I'm not trying to come across as a psychiatrist or any, professional, medical professional. I'm just giving the definitions here. And then I'm going to pivot to my perspective. So just walk with me. It's all going to make sense at the end of the show. But I just want to give you the meanings. Bipolar disorder, extreme mood swings between high energy and deep lows. PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, flashbacks, anxiety, emotional numbness after trauma, schizophrenia, disordered thinking, hallucinations, or a loss of touch with reality. Personality disorder, rigid, unhealthy patterns of thinking or behaving behaviors that is borderline. Substance use disorders, addiction to alcohol or drugs, often tied to emotional pain or trauma. Just some examples. And then signs and symptoms. Withdrawal from family or friends, sudden mood changes, lack of motivation or energy, poor concentration or memory, sleeping or eating too much or too little, feeling of hopelessness, guilt, suicidal thoughts, or self-destructive behavior. Now, the causes of mental illness, which is no single cause, is a mix of factors, biological, with genetic brain chemistry, hormone changes, psychological, trauma, abuse, neglect, social, poverty, loneliness, discrimination, relationship issues, environmental, substance abuse, unstable homes, chronic stress. Now, mental illness does not mean someone's crazy. That's obvious. Or at least it should be obvious. It means they are struggling with something real that needs understanding, support, often professional help. I'm just giving like somewhat of a disclosure. Healing starts when people can talk openly, get treatment, and stop feeling ashamed. Now, I'm just giving a breakdown of the cause of mental illness, some of the causes, some of the signs and symptoms, and common types of mental illness. Okay, so that's my little disclosure. Now, what I'm going to say in the show might come across as wild. Again, my perspective. So I have a understanding, and I just read it to y'all guys, the clinical or some of the clinical information, the meanings. You can always Google it. And if it applies to you, then yeah, absolutely seek some type of professional help and get yourself right. It's a tough world. And sometimes we can't go throughout this world, not sometimes, but we can't go throughout this world alone. So it's always good to have someone to talk to. And it's just the proper way to do it. Because again, this world is very tough and we out here struggling and trying to figure things out. And not everyone is able to handle what they're dealing with. Sometimes we need a little advice and professional advice. So if you think you need it, go and seek it in your local town, city, state, province, country, and go from there. Again, that's my little disclosure. So to my daughter, I broke it down. How did I do good? Did I do good? Cha cha cha. But now, let's get right to it. Mentally ill men. I might do a part 2, maybe the flip side, mentally ill women. My perspective. Now, mentally, a lot of men out here, are really mentally ill. People might even say, "You too, Mr. Greatness?" Yeah, well, that's speculative. So, yeah, you might think so. Hey, maybe, but let's ride. Now, why so many men are mentally falling apart? Being a man, I see a lot of things. A lot of men talk to me on different issues. And a lot of men out here is trying to figure things out. A lot to do with the beginning of their life. Who was around them? What was presented to them? The environment have a lot to do with their mental makeup. That's obvious. Physical as well. They're emotional. All of that plays a part. Family. All that plays a part of the stability of men. And why is men just falling apart these days? And in my opinion, it just have a lot to do with society. A lot of men wasn't raised to be healthy men out here. This society teaches men to be weak, especially in North America and European nations. Again, I'm giving you my perspective. Men is really trained up to be weak. You see it on social media, you see it on all throughout TV and everyday life. And that's definitely clearly affects the psyche of men. What do you mean, Mr. Greatness? First of all, a lot of men is raised boys to men. The song, boy, the group actually, boys to men. But boys is being raised to be weak, and they around women too many women, and they're not real men. What do you mean, Mr. Greatness? There's men and there's males. Being a man is hard. Again, this segment is just for the men. I might give a flip side to mentally ill women out here, but we're just going to talk about the mentally ill men. When you don't have a male figure, an older man, a mentally stable man to guide you, to tell you about the do's and don'ts of society, to be an upstanding citizen, to learn to carry yourself, know how to carry yourself from a boy to a man, know how to conduct yourself as a man, know how to treat people as a man, know how to treat your own brethren as what you should do, know how to treat women, know how to treat children, be an important part of society. These basic things is not explained / taught properly. And I talked about a little about that. It should be taught in the school system, for one. It should be taught at home. But in the school system, where most children, most boys, is there full-time Monday through Friday, 9 to 3, basically most of the day, there should be classes. It goes right back to etiquette. Etiquette classes that teaching young boys how to be men. On a small level, even on a basic level, teaching boys how to everything, having classes and multiple etiquette classes, like etiquette class 1, then etiquette class part 2, and part 3, part 4, different stages to teach it from elementary school to junior high school to high school. There should be classes, etiquette classes of men how to conduct themselves. Boys, teaching them leadership skills, how to take care of a family, responsibility. You do it on a basic level. You can't, obviously, a 7-year-old throw them into the verbal fire and tell them these, but on a basic level, how to carry yourself, how to eat properly, how to hold a knife or fork. That's also the basic level. But when they elevate and get older, it's important how, you don't want to, you be an upstanding citizen, know how to keep yourself clean, how to dress, how to carry yourself, physically being neat, teaching them to be disciplined, teaching young boys to not reading skills, but what to read, So to build their mind, make them more worldly. These things strengthen the mental aspect of a young boy into manhood. Reading is fun and it's mental. Fundamental. Get it? Reading is fun and it's mental. And that's also a lack of reading. The reading, just not anything. Certain books, history, and not just one type of history. The young boy is supposed to be worldly, teaching him to be a Renaissance man. Now I know not all boys can aspire to that. Some don't have that mental capacity. That's just the part of the science of life. But you start out that way. You will have more healthy boys growing up to be men if you have, example, etiquette classes from elementary school on a basic level, leading up to high school, leading up to college. And also, the main thing, it starts at home. That's a no-brainer. Boys supposed to be taught how to conduct themselves, as I mentioned, how to learn to fix things. This part of being responsible, because you're going to eventually run a household. So you need to be a problem solver. You build the young boys up. You teach them there's going to be crises that you have to be strong enough to withstand. This builds the mental psyche. When young boys start having responsibilities, multitasking, very important. Very important. This builds mental strength at a young age. Being able to interact with other boys, being outside at a young age and interacting with young boys instead of just interacting with social media or AI. That's not reality. Reality is getting out in the field and interacting with your peers, young boys. Now, many moons ago, I was a young lad. And I didn't have social. I'm sounding old here. Now I didn't have social media. And in my day, we didn't have Facebook and X and all the other social media. So we had to go outside in the field with other young boys and we interact. We played sports. We played baseball, football, and a little basketball, interacting with other boys and other boys in different neighborhoods and having, wrestling matches and football, neighborhood football games and tackling and all of that other stuff, interacting at a young age. Even though it's sport, but young boys need to interact with each other to gauge who's stronger and stuff. That's combat. And combat, even at a young age, bring mental stability. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. But you got to be out there in the field, in the streets, in the neighborhood, interacting. But we're in a different era now. I get it. Social media, a lot of men is soft and cuddly. The government pushes the agenda a lot. Now, here's going to get more controversial, but the government, powers that be, my personal opinion, pushes more homosexual men than more heterosexual men. The agenda is pushing, because when it comes to homosexual men, and hey, listen, you could be whatever you want to be. If you want to be a fly, then power to you. You want to be a rhinoceros, go for it. So if you want to be gay, that's your business, not my business. But let's be for real. The homosexual agenda is pushed more in society than being a heterosexual male. That's facts. That's not even hearsay. Because when it comes to the homosexual agenda, look, obviously you see the flag everywhere you go. When it's gay pride, I believe in June, every June, gay pride, you have government buildings, school buildings, work buildings, the homosexual, heterosexual, LGBT to the fifth power, all of that stuff, the flags and stuff, that's put out there. But what about people that is heterosexual, that we say straight men? Is that agenda pushed as well? No, it's not. So it should be balanced, but it's not balanced. The homosexual agenda is pushed a lot harder than being a heterosexual young male. Not everybody wants to be a homosexual. Not everyone is a homosexual. We understand that. So what about pushing the same agenda? It got to be right and balanced. If you're going to push the agenda of, gay pride, what about pushing the agenda of heterosexual pride? Can that be put out there? And so people will say, well, Mr. Greatness, that's a given. If you're a straight man, you don't need to push that pride. You don't need to push that out there. Well, why not? Let's be fair and balanced, because clearly the homosexual agenda is always being pushed on TV, social media, and real life, all over. Every month, every day, every week, and especially during Pride Month. So why not create a heterosexual Pride Month too? Even though that sounds very foolish, but let's be fair and balanced. That's what I'm saying. So a lot of young boys out here is being watered down in many different fronts. We're not taught to be boys. What we are being pushed to be soft and cuddly. Look, the agenda is pushed so heavy that you can wear a dress. There's nothing wrong with wearing a dress. That's what's pushed. Nothing wrong with wearing a purse. And they have entertainers that have that been really paid to push that agenda. Now, I know that might be off the wall. You might say, what do you mean paid, Mr. Greatness? They not paid. There's a word called agenda. When you see entertainers wearing dresses and so forth, and they still making millions. But if they push the agenda of being a heterosexual man, would they get the same advertising? That's my question from me to you. Now, I don't want to get too deep into that because that's a whole different topic. And if you don't really understand what I'm talking about, then email me and then I could break that down for you. But it is a clear agenda where young boys are not really taught to be boys. They taught to be very soft these days, be in touch with their feminine side. Now, you're going to say, Mr. Greatness, what does all have to do with mentally ill men? I'm getting to that because this is the start. It breaks, men is falling apart because they don't know who they are. They don't know if they're a man on a Monday, a woman on a Tuesday, a it on a Thursday. It starts from there. Childhood. If you're a young boy and you're not interacting with young boys, or you don't have no males around you, it starts from there in many different ways. Now, a lot of women won't really understand that, Mr. Greatness, that's not true. Well, you're not a man, okay? You didn't grow up as a boy, all right? Well, I got a son. Great. Fantastic. But now I'm going to flip it on you. Lady, did your son or your brothers been surrounded by mostly manly men, or they've been surrounded by females? Makes a difference. Makes a difference. See, I'm gonna use myself as an example, and a lot of friends that I grew up with. We grew up in the neighborhood in an era where it was a lot of upstanding men. And this is why I can take that approach of being a manly man, per se. Because I grew up with men. I had a father. Okay, let's start with that. I had a father. Right, wrong, up and down. I had a father in my life. A manly man, a stand-up guy. Taught me things right from wrong. And I seen how he carried himself, how he conducted himself with people, with family, how he was an impeccable dresser. Always keeping himself on point at all times. Smelling good, looking right. My dad. And that rubbed off on me. I gotta smell good and look presentable. I admit my father was in suit and ties pretty much daily. But that was line of work he used to do. But again, I'm not like that, but I have my own style. I keep it fly as well. But it really stems from him. That's the starting point. See how he conducts himself. That brings mental stability. See, now it's starting to make sense, right? That brings mental stability. Very important. See, these things is important in life. Very important in life. And there was men in the neighborhood. I witnessed stand-up men. Wake up in the morning, go to work. You see nothing but briefcases. Men with briefcases. I remember a neighborhood friend. He had his father. You see him with a pipe, his smoke pipe. No, it wasn't a crack pipe. It wasn't weed. It was a pipe and had tobacco in it, and used to smoke it. And for all my old school people, they understand it. And he had his briefcase, and he had he was dressed on his way to work. I believe he was like a manager at a loading dock, my buddy's father. And I seen other men, briefcases, suit and tie. They on their way to work, 8, 9 o'clock. Men, stand-up men, going to work. The way they carried themselves was impressionable in my head. I grew up with a sea of stand-up men, fathers, even single men, but they was in their 20s, and of course I was 10, 11, whatever. But you see them making moves, and they come home from work. You see men coming from work. You see men interacting in the community, even retired men, how they conduct themselves. Yeah, slacks and shirt, retired men going to the store. That's where I grew up. I grew up in Brooklyn, USA, around that. If it was ever a crisis in the community, you see a whole bunch of men getting involved. If it was a fight between young boys, the next door neighbors, the man in the neighborhood, one of the men will step in, hey, cut it out. And we wouldn't dare to raise up and say, F you, pops. Because those men wouldn't tolerate that. They'll grab you by the collar and then tell your father. And then he will grab you by the collar. That's how I grew up. This have a lot to do with your mental psyche. It starts from there. Interacting with your peers, seeing how other men conduct themselves, having a father, of course, in your life, have a lot to do with your mental stability. And it carries over to adulthood. You know how to treat women for the most part. I mean, it's not a perfect world, I get it, but you have that foundation because you've seen it. And reason why is a breakdown in the psyche of men. They're surrounded by a whole bunch of women. A lot of single moms. That's a statistical fact. You're looking in the U.S. Census or World Census or North American Census in terms of single moms. Now, I know a lot of women, a lot of feminists would be totally against that. And if they are, I know they, feminists anyway, which you got a lot of them. But it have a lot to do with if you're around a single mother and she can't raise a boy, we know that. And there's no uncles around. Nowadays, we talking about nowadays because every men is weak. They falling apart mentally. They don't know if they're coming and going. Society teaches that the woman is God. You have to be under a woman. She's the boss. It's put out there indirectly and directly. You see it in commercials. You see it in social media. They put women as the head nowadays. So the leadership qualities of a man is dumbed down in favor to empower the woman. Now, feminists will say, no, women have it rough and all of this stuff. Not like a man. All throughout history, when nations conquered other nations, they killed off the man. Why? Because he's the power source. He's the nucleus. All throughout history, read your history. When nations conquered other nations, what they did, they conquered the men first. Because they know women and children is easily to be controlled. Facts. You can't deny it. But feminists will say, that's not true. Women got it hard. We got to do twice as much and we got all that. No, you don't. Stop it. The world was made easy. Men built countries. They made it easy for you women. They made laws in favor of you women. Because if it was no laws, man-made laws given, then men could be savages. They could just spot you randomly and conquer you and grab you. You mine. If it was no laws. Men built the law so it could balance, so they don't have other degenerate men that will go and conquer you outright. Now, I know you're not going to understand that because you're a feminist. And most women out here is womanist / feminist, and they oh, women got it hard and all that. That's a feminist. No, you don't. You don't have it hard like a man. Real men in theory they have to be leaders. It's hard to be a king. It comes with great responsibility, controlling your household, controlling your woman folks, your children folks. Let's start with that. Real men out here, men have to sacrifice, as they should, for their wife and children. Really put their life on the line to protect their woman folks and children folks. Can't get no harder than that. Now, what do you mean, Mr. Greatness? If a real man have a family, he's supposed to be the protector. Listen carefully. He's supposed to be the protector. And if you're the protector, you are putting your life on the line. Women don't have to put their life on the line like a man. Now you got some women say, well, yeah, I'm protect my man. Stop it, you feminists. Yeah, of course you're supposed to back up your man. But the man's duty is to protect you at all costs. Protect his children, put his life on the line. If I got to put my life on the line for my children and significant other, that matters. That trumps everything. That's the hardest thing. Who wants to put their life on the line for another human being? But if you got a family, as a man, that's what you're supposed to do. That's mandatory. That's what you're supposed to be taught at a young age. But you're not taught at a young age. That's the problem. I'm saying for the men. Women don't have to do that. That trumps all of the BS they say. Oh, we got it hard. We trying to get educated and all this stuff. Well, it's the man that's implementing the laws to give you the opportunities. Because in theory, if a man wants to be a caveman, it doesn't matter how much marching, how much fighting you get to get voting rights and all of that stuff. The man is the one that's given the okay to make it happen. He could keep the pressure on and say you can't vote. You gotta be barefoot and pregnant. He could keep the pressure on. There's nothing you can do. Well, you physically gonna beat him? Collectively. I know there's some he-woman out here, Xena, warrior princess, and some MMA fighters or females that are strong and all of this stuff. But we're not talking about those exception to the rules. Men can conquer you. They physically stronger than you collectively. We're not talking about the special Olympic women, the Wonder Woman. No, please don't give me that. We collectively, men is physically stronger collectively, okay? Don't give me, I'm stronger than a man. Look, I lift him up. I'm not talking about you. This is collectively. So if men really wanted to keep the pressure on, if men want to be cavemen, and savages, they would not have given you the rights to vote and rights to circulate and rights to work and this and that and that and this. They just would be cavemen. There's some countries that still cavemen and barbaric, right? You ain't getting a chance to vote. You better stay home and cook and clean. Bow! Right to the mouth. There's countries that still flow like that. But here in North America, number one, the men that's in control is soft anyway. They can't even control their woman. So they implement the laws and add on laws and make it possible for you to be me and free. But if you under barbaric rules, men didn't have to give you those rights. If you was dealing with barbarians, they was the ones in control. It still is in control. They could have kept it just what it is. No matter how much you complain and stuff, every woman that complains, off with their head. Could you do that now in the Middle East? I know there's certain flexibilities, but even to now, to this day, I talk to my Middle Eastern brethren. You go, a woman in Saudi Arabia talking wild like it is in North America, off with her head, even to this day. Caveman style. You want lashes, you want a hanging, or decapitation. Like Burger King, you can have it your way. That's what's going down. I'm not saying that's the right thing, but I'm just saying men create the laws, they create the opportunities. In North America, the men out here is soft and cuddly that is in rulership. So you're getting the pass, you're getting things. Again, I'm repeating it because they can't handle their woman. You figure it out. But, so you don't got it bad. It's progression. And I even will double down. This is why society is weak in North America. Because women is out here wilding out. Too many open opportunities, per se. Now, you sound chauvinist, Mr. Gray. Yucca. Ill. Ugh. No, I'm in agreement that there's freedoms. I'm not looking for you to be barefoot and pregnant. No, you need socks on. Oh, no. I had to say that. That wasn't right. That wasn't right. I don't want you to be barefoot and pregnant. Nah, you need socks on. That's all. But that was mean. That was mean. I'm sorry. Since we in the culture, everybody's sorry. I must say it too. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. we in this culture of everybody's sorry, so why I can't be sorry? So, I don't mind the freedoms. We're not cave people out here. Of course, everything's just checks and balances. But some in this era just got real out of the way. People don't know who they are. They don't know if they're man or woman. Now, swinging back to mentally ill men, because they don't have men figures, they didn't grow up in a community of stand-up men, they don't know the meaning. They don't know that's number one. Number two, they're around women. Aunties, grandmas, mama, uncle is not around. We talk about in this culture, in this day and time. The agenda on social media and government is really geared to homosexual men and women. not heterosexual men. Heterosexual men, which is straight men, are really dumbed down. They are labeled, if you are a manly man, you know, oh, you too strong. You know, I feel you misogynistic. I feel you no, you don't like women. You get that energy. So the agenda is pushed so heavily. So this is why a lot of men out here, one of many reasons, that men is not stable. And unfortunately, it just becomes a domino effect. If you haven't been raised or seen how men act at a young age, and you've been surrounded by women. I'm repeating this again. And now you're in your 20s, and even the style of dressing is feminine. So you're flowing like this. You don't know how to conduct yourself. You don't know how to conduct yourself, so how in the world are you going to conduct a family? Men is not taught to handle pressures, situations. So when they get multiple, when they have to multitask, they crumble, they cry. They look for a woman to cry on. It was this football player, quarterback on the Chicago Bears, currently. I'm calling it out. Fingernail polish. I mean, and people support that. Is that manly? A lot of women now say, oh, you know, he's just in touch with his feminine side and nothing wrong with that. And they would date a man like that. In football, I know during the game at USC, and I believe they lost. I'm a college football guy. And I forgot the incident, but I'm paraphrasing. He went in the stands and cried to his mama. Live TV. You cry to your mama. Who does that? Well, in this era, that's what goes down. In my era, when you're playing a combat sport, it's unthinkable, and especially you, the quarterback, you, the leader of the team. This is how I grew up. I'm sorry. I'm not in touch with. I'm in touch with the society. I know about it, but I'm not a part of it per se. I played sports, played football. It was unthinkable if we lost, and I'm running to my mama in the stands, and I'm crying. It just doesn't. I can't relate. I'm sorry. I can't relate. I can't relate to paint my nails black and green and all of that stuff. I just can't relate. Sorry. I'm just gonna die an old effer, and I'm just gonna just be that way. And I already know I'm comfortable in my skin. I can't relate to that. Combat sports and winning losses. I played sports, martial arts and all that stuff, tournaments and baseball, football, and there was L's, losses. I didn't run and cry to my mama. I was disappointed as a team, we disappointed, but I didn't run and cry to my mama. That's what I'm saying. I can't relate. I just picture that. I'm coming home or she's in the stands, let's say. She wasn't really in the stands. Like his dad would, he make his special guest appearance. But let's just say, sake of argument, I didn't run to my mama. My mother would be like, first of all, my mother would be saying, what's wrong with you, boy? You ain't getting paid. Suck it up. That's my mama. My dad didn't even have to do that. He definitely would have said it, but my mother would have jumped in first and said, boy, you weak. Stop being weak. Stop being a weakie. That was her favorite word. Stop being a weakie. Yeah, this is just how I grew up. Sorry. And my brethren, that's how they grew up. So we know how to conduct ourselves, and at least I like to figure that out. I mean, having a family and knowing how to conduct yourself, being a leader, being a problem solver. If you're going through crises, all this builds up your mental character. It gives you that mental strength, that mental toughness that have a lot to do with why men is mentally ill. Let's keep going. Hopefully this is starting to make sense to you, slowly anyway. And then as you get older, you know how to handle relationships. And that's important too. Men don't know the art of handling relationships. Good, bad, up and down. Number one, a woman's going to be a woman. What do you mean, Mr. Greatness, by that? Look, there's ups and downs. You meet a woman. A real man, you're going to tell a woman what you're looking for. A fugazi man is going to cry and weep and say, honey, what you think? What? What you think? You handle it. Men are problem solvers. We are leaders. Real men, do what I say. Silence! Ha ha, chuckle, chuckle. I know you're not laughing. It's okay. But you the leader. She's supposed to follow you. Non-negotiable. The end. And if she can't follow you, don't want to follow you, it's okay. You have to have abundance mindset. There's countless women all over this stinking planet Earth. You think I worry about a woman, a female, especially at my age? I'm in a great place in life. I look, if it don't work out with one, it's another place you could go to. It's females all over this planet Earth. It's just for me to get there. Or just wherever. I really take it like the abundance mindset. At any given time, if I'm hard up and to say I need a woman and stuff, if you can't find it in your area, your state, your city, your province, the world is there. The world is there. And I'm not saying particularly for marriage, because not every woman is marriage material, but they're out here. So it's okay. It's okay. You know what? Most females is not going to feel you, especially you being an alpha male, sigma male. Most women is not going to go for that, especially because they've been conditioned to be the head. And this is another reason why men is falling apart, because they confuse on how to deal with women. And they let one woman really affect them mentally in many different ways. You don't do that. You set a game plan. When you meet a woman, first of all, men, you need to get your mental together first. A lot of men is not ready for a relationship because you need to get yourself together. Mentally, emotionally, financially. And if you're not together or you're not where you want to be, you can't just be getting a woman and then next thing you know, you're trying to figure things out. You're trying to figure out your life and you don't know if you coming or going. and you got a woman, you got, you meeting a woman, you don't know if you come and going, it just don't work. You got men out here meeting, they don't even know how to talk to a woman. That's why I say that's really sparked the mental illness. It was proposed to me. A young lady told me, guy tried to talk to her, and he's already telling this woman, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm not working right now. Strike one. But I want to take you out. Strike two. You laid on the line. Come on, man. What are you, a jackass or what? A goofy. You mean a woman and it's like me saying to a woman, I meet a woman, baby girl, I can't, you're very nice, very pretty, but I just want to let you know, I got 10 kids. No, I'm just giving you an example. I got 10 kids and 9 different baby mamas, and I can't pay my rent this month, and I only got $5 in my wallet, but I want to take you out. What? She gonna look at him like this is a fool, and he is a fool. That's where I state mental illness. Something's not right in that brain. Now you see my point? I'm walking you. I gave you from the very beginning of the definition of mental illness to now. That's an unstable guy that you should not think twice even looking at that man. That man is crazy. He could be suicidal. He could be a murderer. And I know we in this era that being blunt is the end thing, but depends how much bluntness you putting out there. It's not that much bluntness in the world. If you don't got no money, if you're not, you're not working, that means you're not ready. And it's okay. You're not ready to date. You shouldn't even be thinking about dating. You should be thinking about getting a 9-to-5 job, putting money in your pocket. I know I would. If I'm broke as a joke, I'm not thinking about a woman right now. I'm thinking getting on my hustle, getting this cheddar out here, getting this paper, cream, cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money, dollar bill, y'all. Wu-Tang, mid-90s. This is what you need. You can't be. This is the mental stability of these men. You're a female. You gotta run and fast. There's no way you should be dealing with that, and that's a sign of a mentally unstable person. To be bold enough. In my era, you wouldn't have a man leading like that. That's insanity. That's a sign something is wrong with that dude. I don't know if you see it that way, understand it, but I'm breaking it down like that. So men don't even know how to conduct themselves and how to talk to women, what to say to them. You're supposed to put your best foot forward if you're trying to court a woman. We socially awkward. We don't know if we coming and going. That's because we wasn't raised right. We wasn't taught by real men. This is how you conduct yourself. This is what you should say. This is how you should present yourself. And if you out here in the field, in the streets, men, you're going to be rejected by 90% of women. That's just, you're playing a numbers game. 10% is going to be interested, 5% is going to give you a number, and 2% is going to be serious, and 1% you'll get. But you got to go through hundreds of different women if you out here in these streets. That's just the law of averages. Real talk, it's just like if you trying to build a business. You got to you got to market yourself to hundreds and thousands of different people to get out of 1,000 people you marketing, 10% out of that will buy from you or consider buying. 5% will come to your establishment, and then 2 to 1% will actually buy. But if you start getting 3,000 people, 4,000 people at 1%, then you start getting hundreds of people over time that will patronize your business. And that's the same concept when meeting women. It's just the point is having patience if you want to invest the patience to do that. But if you're a young man out here full of testosterone, that's really what you need to do. You need to be out here in the streets, talk to a lot of women. You're going to get rejected. It's okay. You got to deal with hundreds and hundreds of different women. I'm talking about the average dude. If you got exceptional guys that have exceptional look, the percentage of them high, of course, of meeting not quality women, but we meeting women that is interested. We know that, but the average man, you got to have that mindset. You got to go through hundreds a month. You have to be out here. Utilize social media, be in the streets, talk. That also will bring certain mental strength out of you. Mentally tough, because when you're rejected, you just keep pushing. And if you meet, let's say 400 women in a month, social media or outside in the streets, college, university. I'm talking about man in his prime. If you on it like that, gotta meet women. That you go through hundreds of women, and let's say 200 women, you're gonna get about 5 out of that 200 that will be serious. But guess what? You got 5 women now. I'm talking to men that is on that level, want to get women. You have to have abundance mindset. Now if you do it right, you got 5 out of 200, 300 different women. You be like, Mr. Greatness, I got to go through a lot. Yes. Yes. You got to go through a lot of women to find what you're looking for. It's always been that way. My era, other eras, previous, you got to go through a lot of women. And you go through a lot of women, you have like 5 women. Now you got 5 in your stable. Do you really want 5 more? Because in this era, a lot of women are crazy. They have a whole different mindset, worse than it was in the past. I wouldn't want 5. Not even in this era. Even if I was in my prime. It's too much going on now. Women out here is just wilding out. They don't know if they're a woman on a Monday and a man on a Tuesday, and they want to swap, and they want both on a Wednesday. I don't like all of that energy, personally. I don't have the patience. Me, personally. I don't have the patience for it. You might have it, young man, but that's where you have to go through a lot. But personally, men, you need to stay on your purpose. You need to cultivate your life. You don't need to be chasing women like that, like a greyhound. You cultivate yourself as a man, and I believe that you will attract the quality women naturally. That's just my personal opinion. All of that brings mental toughness. A part of why men is falling apart, because they don't know, they're not stable minded. They don't know if they're coming or going. So that plays a part. I broke down a lot of different things, perspectives of why men is falling apart. And we can't forget financial. The paper's hard out here in these streets. Guys don't have money to pay bills, and jobs are scarce. AI is taking over. That's another thing. That's why it's very important that you really can't focus on a woman. You got to focus on survival, getting your own place. Sometimes in life, men, you got to keep it very basic. Basic, like just focus on you to be a better you. Be more worldly. Read books to elevate your mind, make you tough, bring a certain mental toughness. Be around other men. We have to use the social media. We utilize the technology that we have nowadays. My day, no social media, but now I'm in social media. I use social media now. That's why I'm podcast. I utilize the sources that is here to be productive, make some money, empower yourself as a man, learn from other men, listen to other channels, men channels, empowerment, be the best version of yourself. Utilize the social media in the positive way instead of watching goofy stuff that is not going to build your mind. This is one of many reasons why men are mentally ill. Also, lay off all of this weed and crack cocaine and popping pills and all of this stuff. First, number one, this is my opinion. I know you said weed is good. I need it. We all know the weed out here is synthetic. It's not going to help you. You might think it is, but you didn't come on this planet Earth with a blunt in your mouth. And don't be funny, let's not be simple. But you didn't come into this planet Earth with a blunt in your mouth, lines of cocaine on you, pills that you already automatically popping pills like Skittles. You didn't come into this planet Earth like that. So there are natural remedies to keep you stable-minded, but you look for the easy way out. And that's another reason why men is falling apart. They dependent on drugs and alcohol, and they got so dependent, that's their life now. So, not stable-minded. Hold on, let me adjust my sound here. Hold on for a minute. Yeah, thank you. This is a longer show, longer than normal. So I just want to make sure my sound is okay. But I might do a part two. The part two is the reversal with the mentally ill women. And the whole point of this show here is letting men know there is hope. And as long as you're able to wake up in the morning, you can rebuild your mind. We're not perfect out here. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. None of us is perfect. We're just trying to be the best version of ourselves. And sometimes you have to we go through a lot of mental anguish and a lot of struggles in life. And a lot of times it is because we don't keep things basic. Going back to the basics. And the basics is self-improvement. Self-improvement. Sometimes you have to revert back to the basics. Exercise bring a lot of stress levels down, a lot of mental anguish. Look for ways to side hustles to make money, to be productive. It's hard. I get it. Super hard for all of us. I'm in the same boat too. I'm always looking for ways to self-improve. And it gets harder as you get older. And especially when you have multiple responsibilities and then you want to get back to self-improvement, like read books, and it just gets harder. Like not enough time in the day. I like to read personally, and a lot of times I can't read the books and finish the books like I used to. It takes me a lot longer because I have a lot of things to do, but I keep pushing on. And then now I'm in social media doing a lot of podcasting. Editing takes a lot of time. It's not easy to do this work and be consistent. I've been doing this now pushing on 5 years and counting. And I'm grinding each and every week. I put a show for everyone, and it's becoming more harder because I got other things outside requirements to do, and with the YouTube channels, and it's constant editing and uploading and so forth. It gets harder as you grow, and that could be stressful, but that's also relaxing, and I make it work for me. Part of the marketing. It just becomes a microcosm of everything else of what I do. So you got to find your way, man, to bring that mental toughness. Getting back to self-improvement is the starting point. Hopefully, you found the show enjoyable. Perspective that you can see things differently. And again, I might do a part 2. But on the flip side, mentally ill women. And it's going to be the similar format. If I go that route, same thing with the ladies. You got to focus on self-improvement at the end of the day. And sometimes we got to put aside things that is not healthy for us. We have to come to that conclusion, men as well as women. But men, we all going through things. Healing is important. You need counseling. Seek it. Get back to the basics and be the best version of yourself. Thank you for listening.